Listen as the amazing, independent, future executive senior sales director, Kathy Eckhart, gives you step-by-step suggestions for how to close like a pro. By putting to work her tips and techniques, you too might enjoy the rewards of knowing how to successfully close any business opportunity.
I want to tell you a little bit about my I story, and maybe that'll give you a little bit of hope. When I began my own Mary Kay journey, I would never have believed it if you or anybody had told me that someday I would actually be asked to teach a class at seminar or anywhere on how to close like a pro. Because I'm going to tell you, not only did I not know how to close a skincare class back in those days, I didn't even know I was supposed to. I just had this idea that you put it on their face and they were just going to love it and they would buy it. And somehow that didn't always happen. And I just couldn't figure out why. Another problem I had back in those early days when I was starting and was wanting to close was that I had been a stay-at-home mom for quite a long time. And as a stay-at-home mom, I didn't use much skincare. I didn't use a lot of makeup. I didn't go a lot of places, so I didn't have to. As a matter of fact, I was really good at one thing. My lipstick always harmonized with my blush, because my lipstick was my blush. Have any ever done that? That was pretty much it for me. I bought all my products, well, a little bit from the grocery store, a little bit from the drugstore, a little bit from the lady at the door. You know how that is? Didn't have a whole skincare set of anything ever. And what I did know was that I loved the skincare. Once I tried the skincare for the first time, I just fell in love with it. Even at a very young age, I had very dry skin. And the first time I used that product, and you know, it was even the extra emollient night cream that we used. And even at that age, I mean, I had dry enough skin that I could put that extra emollient night cream on my face, and I would wake up and I just couldn't believe the difference. So I was amazed by that. So all of my sales were simply a result of telling people, here, feel my cheek. Doesn't it feel soft? Isn't that amazing? And they would buy it. I really wasn't into all of the glamour and everything, but we had two sets, and one was the 5-step, which is now the classic basic, and that came in a little box. And then we had the complete set, and that came in a big box. Well, because my cheek was really soft, I was beginning to sell a lot of the basic sets, just letting them try it, and they would buy it. Some did, and some didn't, and I figured I was doing good. And then one day, it occurred to me that there were actually women out there who actually went to a department store, tried all these products, and said, I'll take it all. Because I had never had all of anything. You know, it was just bits and pieces. So one day, at one of my fairly early classes, one of my friends actually said to me at the end of the class, I'll take it all. I want it all. I just thought she meant all 5 steps in the basic system. But that's all anybody bought up to then. So I'm putting it together for her, and she said, no, Kathy, I want it all. I want that box, the big box. I just couldn't believe it. I was totally stunned. And I remember I leaned over, and I touched her arm, and I whispered, Darlene, you don't have to buy it for me. And she said, Kathy, I'm not buying it for you. I'm buying it for me. I really want it all. And it was like a light bulb went off at that moment. You know, new concept. People want it all. I just had never thought about it before. I'm telling you that because what does that tell you? From that moment on, I totally believed in my products. Up until then, because I never used it all, just bought little bits and pieces, even though I knew the skincare worked for me, it just never occurred to me that women really did that. Women want it all. This is good stuff. I've got a good thing going here. I believed in my product, and closing became easy. Do you see the difference? Up until then, when it got to the end of the class and I had to close, I would kind of put my head down and mumble into my shirt, and it's only mumble, mumble, mumble. And they never even heard the price, because I couldn't say the price. Belief is the magic word. Belief. When we believe in our products, we can sell anything that we believe in. You know, the word enthusiasm, the last 4 letters are IASM, and they stand for I am sold myself. I am sold myself. And when we have enthusiasm, that's all sales is. It's transferring our enthusiasm to our potential client or potential team member. So that's all it is. Just be enthusiastic. Be sold yourself. And please realize that when you hold a skincare class, or you hold a team building appointment, or you're doing an inventory talk with a new team member, and you don't close and get the order, or you don't close and get the team member, or you don't close and help her make that inventory decision, do you know what you're saying? You're saying that you didn't believe everything you said up until that point. Because if you believe it, it's so easy. So to close like the pros, you have got to believe deep in your heart and your soul that Mary Kay is positively, absolutely the best product out there, bar none. Got to believe that. To close like the pros, you have got to believe that the Mary Kay opportunity is unparalleled in the world today. There is nothing better for a woman who wants it all. She wants balance in her life, and she wants unlimited income. Where else can she find it? That's what you've got to believe. And that when you offer a woman this opportunity, you are giving her the gift of a lifetime. You know, we've got to get real solid in closing, because closing is the one most important skill we can learn if we want to be super successful at this business. If we don't close, we are just visiting in people's homes. Closing isn't some mysterious process. Closing is simply asking for a decision. You know, you've gone through all that work and effort up to that point. Why leave it without asking for a decision? Mary Kay used to say, much good work is lost because of the lack of a little bit more. But sometimes we're so afraid of getting a no answer that we don't even ask for an answer. Anybody ever felt a little bit afraid of a no? Actually, I think we all have, at least at some point, and I know for sure that I did. Mary Kay used to say that when a woman says no, she really means maybe. And when she says maybe, then she really means yes. Have you ever thought that every time you ask, you have a 50-50 chance of getting a yes? But if you don't ask, you have a 100% chance of getting a no? So ask. I can guarantee that the Queen of Sales, who will be recognized at seminar, has gotten more no's than anybody else. But she's also gotten more yeses because she kept on asking. Let's say that you invited a group of your neighbors to your house for an afternoon coffee, and you brought out a tray of your mother's recipe, your homemade, your very special, your kids love them, chocolate chip cookies. And you pass the tray around. And of course, you know, I love chocolate chip cookies. You pass them around, I bet a number of women would say, oh, wow, I love chocolate chip cookies. Thank you, I'll have one. But you know, somebody else might say, no, thank you, dear, I'm on a diet. And somebody else might say, not now, but maybe later. And somebody else might say, I wish I could, but I'm allergic to chocolate. Would you feel rejected because they didn't want your cookies? Of course you wouldn't. You wouldn't even give it a second thought. You'd just pass the tray to the next person, wouldn't you? Who might say yes. No means next. And it's the same way with Mary Kay. Some will, some won't. So what? You probably heard that before, but I want you to memorize that, because that has gotten me through many a time when I was afraid to ask somebody. I just tell myself, say it with me. Some will, some won't. So what? Okay, passionate. Some will, some won't. So what? Very good. There's always somebody waiting for you to ask them. Somebody's life who's going to totally change for the better forever because you asked. Because you got over being afraid and you opened up this door to somebody else. And you said, next. I think another reason we're afraid of closing is because some of us have this mental image of a salesperson who is a fast-talking, pushy person who talks people into buying something they don't need with money they don't have. I mean, we just get this idea in our head. And I assure you that you do not have to be pushy to buy this product or to sell this product. In fact, if you think about when you bought your first basic, did you buy it because somebody made you buy it? Or you bought it because you just loved how your skin felt when you tried it the first time. You bought it because you wanted to. Nobody made you buy it. Nobody was pushy. And to be a good salesperson doesn't mean we have to be loud and jump up and down about it, but we do have to be passionate. And it was really kind of an odd synchronicity, but when I was putting together this talk, I was writing that part about you have to be passionate about whatever it is you're selling, but you don't have to be loud and jump up and down about it. And I was getting ready to go to bed, and I checked my email right before, and there was an email from Lucy, and Lucy is a very elegant lady. Very elegant, very beautiful, very soft-spoken, and she would probably consider herself self-contained. She would never think of herself as being particularly passionate. So right as I was writing that, then I checked my email, and here's the email that Lucy wrote me that night. I didn't say anything about what I was writing. It said, "Kathy, I know I don't show my excitement outwardly like others do, but I can just feel the excitement building in me every day. On the way to work and back home again, I'm constantly popping in those CDs." And then Joyce, a team member, said to me, "Lucy, you know what? You are so passionate about Mary Kay." And that remark really drew my attention, and I said to her, "Passionate? Do you really see me that way?" And Joyce said, "Oh, yes, very much so. I can tell you love the product, sharing with others why you love Mary Kay. It's all over your face and body when you talk about it." See, that's passionate. You don't have to be this extrovert that speaks real loud and pumps your chest in a plaid jacket. You just have to show your heart that you love the product. So because Lucy's quiet, she just had never thought of herself as passionate. And like a lot of people, Lucy had the idea that to be a good salesperson, you've got to be an extrovert and a great talker, when actually the quality that all great salespeople have in common is not that they're great talkers, but that they're great listeners. Mary Kay used to say that God gave us all 2 ears and 1 mouth, and He wanted us to use them accordingly. And she would recite a little poem that goes like this: "To sell Jane Smith what Jane Smith buys, you have to see Jane Smith through Jane Smith's eyes. To see Jane Smith through Jane Smith's eyes, to see Jane Smith's heart, you've got to listen, and you've got to listen with your heart. You've got to ask questions and listen, listen, listen. Not talk, 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 talk. Just be quiet and listen. Now, you ask questions. You've got to ask questions so she can respond. And questions are one of the most important parts of any close. Asking questions gets to the real issue. Asking questions helps you to know what her needs are and her priorities are. And isn't it true that all sales is finding a need and filling it? So in order to fill her need, you have to know what her need is. You ask questions to show her that you care, because it's so true that they don't care what you know until they know that you care. Asking questions makes her feel important. Asking questions takes the focus off of you and puts it on her where it belongs. Keep in mind, too, that in an interview situation, the person who's asking the questions is in control of the interview. Part of closing, of course, is overcoming objections. And an objection isn't scary. An objection is simply a request for more information. So it simply means, tell me more. If I think of it as an objection, it gets maybe scary. But if I think of it as her just asking me a question for more information, then it's just easy and natural. Would you like to have a formula to help you answer somebody's concerns? Number 1, listen. Always look at her right eye. Don't ask me why her right eye. Mary Kay said the right eye. But I do know that I've always done it. It always seems to work. Number 2, you acknowledge what she said. Now, to me, acknowledge what she said just means to repeat back to her what she said while you're nodding. Honestly, just repeat back. Let's say she said, I just don't know if I have enough time to do this. You would say, so what you're telling me is that you are interested. This is something you could have an interest in, but you're just not sure if you could fit it into your life. Is that right? And she'd say, yeah, that's right. And it is so amazing how just repeating back to her to get clarification really lets her know that you are paying attention. Number 3, empathize. Empathize means feel her feelings. Feel her feelings. Hear her heart. Our little formula is very easy to use in empathizing with somebody else's situation, and it's feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt that way, or somebody else I know has felt that way, but I found that. Well, this would be, use the word feel. Not, I know where you're coming from, but I know how you feel. Number 4, overcome. And here you could use the felt word. I know how you feel because I felt that way too. Number 5, the word is solution. But I found that. Number 6, give her a choice. Give her a choice of 2 things. Always, except in a sales situation when you can give her a choice of 3 things. But in other situations, I usually like to give her a choice of just 2 things, something and something. Because, even if you don't think you're giving her a choice of something and something, you are always giving her a choice. But if you just ask her an open-ended question, her choices are yes or no. So you want to give her a choice of the 2 things that would give the answer that you'd like to hear. That would be, for instance, if you're scheduling a class, and I know you know that you would say, what would be better for you the first part of the week or the end of the week? Or would an evening or a weekend be better for you? So you're always giving her these 2 questions. Sometimes she hasn't even said, yes, I'd like to have the class. You've just posed the question, and then you say, now let me look at my date book. What would be better for you? Sometimes her name goes in the date book, and she's never actually said, well, yeah, I'd love to do that. But she's assenting by going on and answering your questions. Let me give you a couple of other examples of asking questions before I go on any farther. Example, let's say we're finishing up an appointment. And you might say, how did you want to handle your starter kit, Sally? Did you want to use a credit card, or would you rather write a check? That's a choice of something or something. You don't want just one close, because whenever somebody gives you an objection and you answer that objection, then you go right back again and you ask another closing question. And she might either answer it and say, well, I think I'd rather write a check. Well, great, you're done. But let's say she says, oh, I just don't know. I'm not sure what my husband would say. So then you go back and answer that concern, and then you bring up another closing question. So you want to have more than one closing questions. So another closing question might be, would you like to start your orientation this week, Sally, or would next week be better for you? Because either way is fine with me. And if she says, well, hey, I'm ready to start, this week is fine, well, then you just proceed forward. Or she'll give you an objection, and you'll go back and you'll answer it again. But you always give a choice of something or something. And 7, this is your formula. The 7th word is silence. After giving a choice, you sit there and you do not say another word. Smile, but don't talk. I look her in her right eye again. Again, I don't know why the right eye, but I look her in her right eye for a few seconds. But then I deliberately break contact. I'll sit there, and then I'll deliberately look down at my lap, down at my date book, down at my recruiting folder, to break contact, because otherwise it really is putting a lot of pressure on her. I want to take away that pressure a little bit. And you wait until she says something. You want her to be the one to answer. So I don't say a word, and it's going to seem sometimes like forever. It's going to seem like it was 5 minutes, and you're dying to jump in and say something, and you can't. We want to say, I just think you'd be so good, and I know you just love it, and you just go on, chattering away, when all you have to do is be quiet. So sometimes we make the sale and we buy it right back again because we talk too much. So you just want to be quiet. And then it's probably going to seem like forever, but it's going to be about 30 seconds. And she's going to answer. See, the ball is in her court now. And it may be to ask another objection, or by now she may say, hey, yeah, I'm ready to go. If she does ask another objection, you may even want to go through that whole 7-step process again and start over again. Now, I found that we usually hear about 2 objections before we get to the real objection. In other words, the first one, maybe first 2, are a smokescreen. She'll say, I just don't know if my husband would want me to do this, or I just don't know if I'd have time with the kids and all. So you answer that and you come back again, and then you answer the second one and you come back again. If she keeps coming up with objections, like on the third or fourth time, you know what I would do? I would just look at her, probably lean over, and I'd maybe touch her arm, and I'd repeat it. I'd go through the steps. I'd repeat it back, whatever it was. I'd say, so you're feeling that maybe the time just isn't right. You've got so much on your plate right now. And I'm nodding my head. Is that how you're feeling? And she'd say, yes. Then I'll say, well, Janie, let me ask you, if we can solve this for you, if we can find a way around this, does that mean you're ready? And she'll say, well, yeah, probably. So then when I find a solution for her, she won't keep asking objections. If she has any more objections after that, it'll finally be the real objection. And almost always, haven't you found, the real objection is fear? They're afraid of something. They're afraid of what their friends will say. They're afraid that they'll fail. They're afraid of all the things we were afraid of when we started, but we did it anyway, and she will too, if she knows that you're there for her and that you're on her side and you're going to teach her everything you know. One of the things that I think is so important, I do not prejudge when you're selling. Don't decide, oh, they're all teenagers, they don't have a lot of money, they probably won't buy it. So you just show the basic, or the basic and some color, because you never know. I want you to promise me that every time you close a facial or a skincare class, that you will romance everything, you hold up everything, you talk about every single thing and how it's going to make them feel. Not just because there's two ways to close. One is logic and one is emotion. Logic is giving them the features and the benefits of that product, why it is the way it is and what difference it's going to make for them. But emotion is what makes them pull out their checkbook. Mary Kay used to tell us to sell the sizzle, not the steak. That's emotion, and you do that by painting word pictures. She wants to hear how people are going to look at her differently when she walks into her job tomorrow wearing the new signature look. She wants to know how her boyfriend is not going to be able to get her out of his head because of the delicate scent of Elige perfume that lingers long after they've said goodnight. That's what's going to sell that product to her. That's the emotion. That's the word picture. Use lots of fun little descriptive phrases like, soothing eye mask is a nap in a jar. Or, eye cream is like a drink of water for the eyes. What you're doing is building the want to. Because when the want to is strong enough, the how to will come. If she wants it bad enough, she will find a way to get it. I have always found when somebody really says to me, I can't afford it, and I've gone through everything, I'm excited. Because that means I've got a booking. Because I know she wants it. And now I have a booking, and she's not going to feel I'm being pushy. I'm going to show her a way to get it free. Now, after you do your classes, you do an individual close. Of course, we don't tell them it's an individual close. To the people at our classes, we tell them it's a personalized session or your private session. I always save time at the end. While I'm going through the class, I might say, I don't have time to answer all your questions now, but don't let me forget I want to save time at the end for a personalized session. So Patty and I are sitting together at that individualized session, and even if you're in a tiny space, and if all you can do are pull 2 chairs away from the table, it's still better to do this. I found that when I started doing this, and it was real hard, I just couldn't seem to get them away from the table. I felt like everybody's going to walk out the door if I went in the other room. But I found it really, really works. One way you can do it is, sometimes we don't do the eyes at a class. Well, if you're having trouble with this at first, let them do eyes. Okay? But let them only do one eye while you're there, and then you say, well, you all finish up your eyes while I'm talking to you individually. Nobody goes home with one eye. So that'll keep them there a while. The other thing is make sure the hostess doesn't serve refreshments till the end and then say, I smell some apple pound cake. I bet you've been working all day. They're going to wait around even if they're on a diet because they don't want to hurt her feelings. So you do those things, and then you take them in the other room. And we've just closed the class, and Patty and I sit down together, and I'd say something like, Patty, did you have fun tonight?
Oh, I did. I had a great time.
Well, how does your skin feel?
It feels wonderful.
How about your foundation color? Do you think we got the right shade?
I think we did.
I think
this
it's perfect.
is one of the first times.
Really?
I've had it matched that well.
Well, it just looks like beautiful skin. You can't even tell you got anything on.
Well, thank
How's
you.
it feel?
It feels great.
Some of my customers tell me it feels like wearing air on their face. Then I might say, of everything we did tonight, what product did you like the best?
Well, I really like the skincare because I've never really used skincare before.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
You're one of those natural girls.
Well, I used that antibacterial soap.
Oh, you did? Well, Patty, let me ask you. You saw all the sets tonight, and I could just see the excitement in your eye. If money were no object, let's pretend you just won the lottery. Which set would you be interested in taking home with you tonight?
Well, I'd love to have that big set. I really would. I'd like to start with everything fresh.
Oh, great.
I
Sound
could
good
take
for
it
you?
all with me
Oh,
tonight.
absolutely. I want you to get started. Can you just see when you go into that bank tomorrow, you, this au naturel girl, what are they going to say when you walk in with your new look?
Oh, well, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would really be great.
And I know how concerned you've been about the little lines around your eyes. I'll write it up now. Can you stick around just for a few minutes?
Sure.
I'll put it together for you. You can go ahead and get some of that apple cake. But, there's one more thing I want to talk to you about. At all of my classes, Patty, I always select a couple of people I'd like to have for my future hostesses, and tonight I've selected you. Is there any reason you couldn't be a hostess for me? You're my favorite. I think you'd be wonderful.
Well, gosh, I'm just so busy with my job and the kids. Gosh, I just don't know when I could get time to do anything like that.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you, I know exactly how you feel. Most of us are busy. That's one of the reasons I know you're buying your product, because it's so easy to use. It just takes a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes at night.
That's right.
But the thing is, tonight, we didn't have time to show you all of the product. One of the things I talk about at my class is the personal makeover session appointment. It's personal makeover session with me. I build that up. And I really love it when somebody buys it all, because she's going to be one of my best hostesses because she bought it all. So she's trying more products, so she'll love more products. She'll be a great hostess. So I really want her to be a hostess. I'll build up the personal makeover session. I'll say, we just didn't have time tonight for me to go into individual application techniques, and I'm really looking forward to getting together with you to do your personal makeover session, and I'll customize a look for you when I come. I know you also wanted the microdermabrasion. Well, I bet we can get that for you free. After we've got you all done, then your friends can come in, and you know how fast we went through the basic. If you have 5 people there who aren't using Mary Kay, I'll give you the microdermabrasion as a gift. How's that?
I don't know, Kathy. I don't know if I know 5 people that I can get there all at one time.
Oh, really? You seem to know so many people, but I'll tell you what. I really so much want to get with you that let's go ahead and just set it down now, and then if you could stick around a few minutes after this, I'll help you work out a guest list. I bet you know if you... Didn't you tell me your mom is in the area? She still lives in this area?
Not my mom, but my sisters are in
Your
the area.
sisters are in the area. And I bet each of them knows a friend.
Oh, maybe.
Well, just tell each of them, I'll give them a free eyeshadow if they bring a friend with them. Does that sound fair?
That sounds good.
Because you really were my favorite tonight.
Well,
I would love to have
so
that class with you
much.
tonight.
Well, thank you.
Only one person can be your favorite. But you can tell everyone there that you always select a couple of people to be your future hostesses, and tonight I've selected you. One more thing I want to do that really wasn't part of closing, but I think it's so important at keeping classes on your books. It's something that Mary Kay taught us in the beginning. I didn't use it at first because it didn't sound like me. I thought, I can't say that. That's not me. That's pushy. Mary Kay said, we'd say, those aren't my words. And she says, yes, they are your words. I gave them to you. They are yours now. And I want you to use them exactly the way I gave them to you. And so this was it. After I get her into my date book, even if it's tentative, I would say, well, I'll tell you what, we don't know when we can get together. Let's go ahead and pick a tentative date. When you get home and check your calendar, if it won't suit, that's okay. Call me right away and we'll change it. That's something to do with busy people. Once it's in the date book, it stops being tentative in her brain. She's thinking for real. So then I say, Mary Kay, this is a business with me. And I'm just like the mailman. I'm going to be there, rain, sleet, snow, or shine. You can depend on me. Can I depend on you?
If I make a commitment, I'll stick to it.
I knew I could. Mary Kay said you shake her hand, and you can get away with anything with a smile. I think I'm going to do one more. That was too easy. Let's do one hard one. Let's say she can't afford it. She's not interested, or whatever. What would you do next?
Well, I might take that eye cream tonight.
I would say great. Whatever she says, great. You made a good choice. I tell you what, that is an amazing product. Let me see. I can't see a lot around your eyes, but, prevention is important. So I'm glad you're getting it. It's one of my favorite products. But you know what? You were also kind of interested in the oil-free eye makeup remover. You don't want to put a lot of pressure around your eyes. That will help in causing that delicate tissue to wrinkle. So you're very delicate. That might be something I'd suggest to go along with the eye cream. Do you think that you might want to add that?
Well, I don't know if I really want to do that tonight.
Okay. I don't ever push, but I do suggest maybe one or two products that sound like something that she would want. Or if she had said basic and didn't buy the eye cream, I might write up the basic. I'll tell her, great, that was a good decision. If you can't start with everything, the best place to start is with skincare. But I might look at her profile and say, but I did notice that you had some concerns about some tiny lines around your eyes or something like that. So don't be afraid to suggest in closing. It's like you go in to buy shoes, maybe your kids' shoes, and don't they always say, did you need some polish to go with that? Or do you need shoelaces? I mean, do you get upset and stomp out of the store and say, this is such a pushy store, I'm never coming back in again? Or do you think, well, yeah, I do. That's kind of a weird color. Yeah, I probably do need some polish. What do you have? And you're grateful that they made the suggestion. Well, you're going to find there'll be people who come to your class and you saw their interest in something, but when they're closing, they just didn't think about it. So it's okay to suggest. They may say yes, they may say no. Remember, so what? Don't worry about it, but suggest, because otherwise she'll get home and say, oh, you know what? I should have bought that oil-free eye makeup remover. I really liked it. And they usually don't call you back. Now what we're going to do, Denise and I are going to close a team building interview. At the beginning of an interview, I usually explain my closing. You always set up your close. So at the beginning, I usually say, we're going to do 5 things today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. I'm going to ask you some questions about you. I'm going to explain all the facts. I'll answer any questions that you might have. And then I'm going to ask you if you're ready to make a decision. Does that sound fair?
That sounds
Great.
fair.
So I tell her in advance what I'm going to do. Then I cover the material. Then I ask her, do you have any questions? So let's start with that point. Denise, I've told you all the information about Mary Kay and how it could fit into your life. Oh, I'd love to have you on my team. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Now, you really wish they had questions. Questions are just asking for more information. Sometimes you do get a hard one where they don't have any questions, but they don't sign up either. And then you don't know where to go. So you'd really rather have a question or an objection, because then you know what to say next. But let's say she has no questions. Well, if she tells me, no, I don't think so. I think you've covered it all real well, Kathy. Then I'll say, well, Denise, I'll tell you what. I've told you all about Mary Kay. I've answered your questions. I guess the only thing we have to decide now is, when do you want to get started? This week or next week? Because either way, it's fine with me.
Well, Kathy, I really don't think I can fit it into my schedule.
Well, Denise, I can just see the excitement on your face. So I know this is something that you are excited about. Am I right?
Yes.
You are. So if we could find a way to work this into your schedule, do you think this might be something you'd want to pursue?
I think so. I love the product, but I really don't see how it's going to fit into my schedule.
Well, I know what a busy person you are, and you're exactly the kind of person I look for, because busy people get things done. We're
Right.
organized and we get things done, and I love working with busy people. How much time do you think it takes to do a Mary Kay business?
Probably about 20 to 30 hours.
You are
a
going to
week.
be so excited when I show you how it actually works. Come here, Denise. Let me
Okay.
pull out a weekly plan sheet. Have that with you at the appointment. And just pull it out. Another good thing is to answer their objections before they even come up. Denise, if I could show you how you could spend about 9 hours a week, is that something you'd want to hear more about?
9 hours?
Well, that would be a start.
Yeah, I'd love to.
If I've already shown her 3 weekly accomplishment sheets, though, one would be somebody who is simply working the business. Maybe she's been in a while, it has a great reorder business. The second one, maybe she held 2 to 3 classes that week. And then a third one might be a week where somebody really blew them out of the water. What other kind of outside activities are you involved in, Denise?
My son's sports, they have practice, and then Saturday morning is sports.
Saturday morning, always sports, okay?
Yes.
Which days do they practice?
Tuesday and Thursdays.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Yes.
Now, do you and your husband kind of take turns with that? Or is it
Actually,
not?
no, it's usually
It's
me.
usually you.
Yes.
Okay, so Tuesday and Thursday, looks like we have Monday and Wednesday and Friday and Saturday afternoons. Now, is
Okay.
there other things going on?
Wednesday might be kind of hard to do something, so Wednesday evening is probably taken.
Okay, so it looks like we have Monday, Saturday afternoons, possibly Sunday.
That's true.
You know, Sundays are a great time to do Mary Kay.
That's true.
Yeah, I have a friend who did 3 classes every Sunday, every other week. She'd do a class at 12:30, she'd do another one at 2, and she'd do another one at 7. So I show her how to work it in. Okay, now give me another objection.
Let's see. I think that it would cost a lot to start my own business, and that is just something that's not going to fit into my budget right now.
Okay. Well, actually, Denise, you can be very excited to know that $100 would get your starter kit to start your Mary Kay business. Your starter kit contains everything you need. It's like a business in a box. First, I really romance the business in a box. What's involved in it? It's actually real full-size product with all of your trays and your makeovers and demos and your materials. And you can actually start your skincare classes with that. All you need to buy are some washcloths and cotton balls, and you're ready to go. Now, that is no product to actually sell. I do kind of mention that if they say money is a problem. But you may want to start with some product. I do recommend that you have products on hand. But $100 would get your starter kit. Does that
Okay.
sound good?
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah. The way I would finally close once I felt like she was ready is I'd just tell her, Denise, I'm so excited to have you on my team. I'm so delighted to be working with you. And I'd give her a
Thank you.
shake. The only other thing I want to tell you is practice makes perfect. The only way you're going to get good at this is to practice, practice, practice. If you're not comfortable working with closing, shadow your director. Watch her over and over again until you feel like you're comfortable doing it. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience.